and that you had an amazing day. All right, so we're going to start with our lesson today on English personal pronouns, right? So we are grade two. So this is a grade two lesson on personal pronouns. All right. So before we start, you're going to the A plus students.ca. So you're going on A plus students.ca. Once you are on A plus students.ca, you're going to log in with your username as well as your password. All right, so once you've logged in with your username as well as your password, you're going to select the subject of language arts. All right, so once you've selected the subject of language arts, we're going to grade two. And then our chapter for today is we're going to scroll down all the way to personal pronouns. All right, so our chapter for today is personal pronouns. And the lesson is to identify pronouns, to choose between the subject and object pronouns, to replace the singular noun with a pronoun, right? And remember, singular means one. Replace the plural nouns with with a pronoun, and plural means more than one, so two or more. Then we have compound subjects and objects with I and me. And then we're going to end off with choosing the correct personal pronoun. All right, so we're going to start with our first lesson on identifying pronouns. Okay, so before we identify pronouns, right, a pronoun is a word that takes the place of a noun or it takes the place of nouns, right? So instead of then saying maybe the person's name, right, you can just say her or she, right? Instead of literally mentioning all of them, we can say them or they. So yeah, if we then we also have singular pronouns and then we have plural pronouns, right? And a singular pronoun, it takes the place of a singular noun, right? So which means it's one person, one place, or one thing, right? Because singular means one, right? So singular pronouns, it takes the place of a singular noun, which is one person, one place, or one thing, right? And an example of that is Leah liked the book, right? So Leah liked the book. So if we were to substitute the maybe the word Leah and the book, and then we can say, for example, she. So instead of saying Leah, we can say she liked the book. Instead of saying the book, we can say it, right? Because now we are already referring to that specific noun, right? So she, it takes the place of Leah, and it takes the place of the book. So that is singular pronouns, right? That is singular pronouns. And then we also have the singular pronouns, which is I, you, he, she, it, me, him, and her. So these are all singular pronouns, which refers to, let's say, one person, right? Or thing, or place even. All right, then we have plural nouns, right? And plural nouns, it takes the place of plural nouns, right? So plural pronouns, sorry. And it basically, and plural nouns are more than one person. It makes mention of more than one place or more than one thing, right? For example, the kids liked the books. So instead of then saying the kids, we can say they liked. Instead of the books, we can say them, right? So they takes the place of the kids and them takes the place of the books because we know what specifically it is referring to. And then we also have plural pronouns, and plural pronouns, which refers to more than one person, place, or thing, is we, you, they, us, or them, right? All right, so now if we look at our example questions, right? It says, he laughed at the joke, right? We need to select the pronoun, right? So he laughed at the joke. So we need to choose the correct pronoun. And if we were to choose the correct pronoun, we would then say it is he, right? Because he laughed at the joke. So he, it refers to, can either be someone's name, right? Maybe instead of saying Jim, we're saying he, right? So he is a singular pronoun. So he laughed at the joke. Did you pick the biggest piece? So we need to choose the pronoun within that sentence, right? So did you pick the biggest piece? So we can say you, right? Because now we are asking or referring to someone or asking someone if they took the biggest piece, right? Which means that the person is in front of you and you're asking, did you pick the biggest piece? Piece of cake or piece of apple or anything that was cut up. Mom gave him new clothes. So mom gave him new clothes. We need to choose the pronoun within that sentence. Mom gave him new clothes. All right, so we can then say him, right? So him is a pronoun, right? Which is, or it refers to a singular pronoun, right? So him is the pronoun that we identified within that sentence. All right, let's go next. We're going to the next one. I love opening presents. So I love opening presents. We need to choose the correct pronoun within that sentence. I love opening presents. All right, so if we were to choose the pronoun, then we would say it is I, right? So I is the pronoun basically, and it refers to a singular pronoun. So I refers to a singular pronoun. The noise frightens her. So the noise frightens her. We need to choose the pronoun within that sentence. And remember, a pronoun is a word that takes the place of a noun or nouns. All right, so we can say her, right? Her refers to a singular pronoun. It's a singular pronoun. So instead of saying Jessica or Jane, the noise just frightens her because we're referring to a specific person. Mom waits for me after school. So mom waits for me after school. We need to select the pronoun within the sentence. Mom waits for me after school. All right, so if we select the pronoun within that sentence, then we can say it is me, right? And me refers to a singular pronoun, right? A singular pronoun. And it takes the place of a singular noun, right? One person, which is me. All right, so we said that a pronoun It is a word that takes a place of a noun or nouns, right? So instead of saying, for example, the person's name, or for example, mentioning books or boots, we can, for example, just say I, you, he, she, it, me, him, or her. And the ones, the pronouns that I just mentioned were singular pronoun, which refers to one person, one place, or one thing. And then we also have plural pronouns, right? Which is we, you, they, us, or them. And it refers to, it takes the place of more than one person, place, or thing, right? All right, so now we're going to do a little test on identifying pronouns. Okay, so we need to select the pronoun within the sentence. He always finishes first. So he always finishes first. Is it he or first? We need to select the correct pronoun, right? That takes the place of a noun. He always finishes first. So is it he or first? All right, so if we were to select the pronoun, we would select he, right? He, because it takes the place of a noun. All right. We filled pails with water. We filled pails with water. So is it we, that's the pronoun, or with? We need to select the correct word, we or with. We filled pails with water. We need to select the pronoun. Alright, so if we select the pronoun, then we will select the pronoun we, right? Because we, it takes, and that is also a plural pronoun, right? Referring to more than one person. You have a nice smile. You have a nice smile. We need to select the pronoun. Is it you or is it have? Alright, so if we were to select the pronoun, we would then select the pronoun which is you, right? And that is a singular pronoun that we identified, right? Alright, so that was a test on identifying pronouns, right? And we were able to identify whether it was either a singular pronoun referring to one person, place, or thing, or a plural pronoun which referred to more than one person, place, or thing, right? And we see the pronoun, it takes the place of a noun or it takes the place of nouns. So if we are going to our next lesson, right? The next lesson is choose between subject and object pronoun. All right, so you can use a subject pronoun as the subject of a sentence, right? And a subject, it tells us who is doing something, and it is usually at the beginning of a sentence. Remember, a subject, it tells us who is doing something, right? So, who is doing something. And it is usually at the beginning of a sentence. And the subject pronouns are I, you, he, she, it, we, or they, right? So, those are subject pronouns. And an example of it is I hug Rick. So I hug Rick, right? So the subject pronoun, right, that tells us who is doing something is I. So I, it tells us who is doing something. And also, it's at the beginning of the sentence, right? So I is the subject within that sentence. Then we also have an object pronoun, right? And an object pronoun we can use after an action verb, right? So the object pronouns we use after an action verb, And the object pronouns are me, you, him, her, it, us, and them, right? And if we look at the example that we have over there, then we can say Rick hugs me. So the object pronoun is me, right? And me is used after the action verb, which is hugs. So Rick hugs me, and me is the pronoun that is used after the action verb hugs. All right, so once again, we also get subject pronouns and we have object pronouns, and the subject pronoun sorry is the subject of the sentence, and it tells us who is doing something. And most times or usually we will find it at the beginning of the sentence. And then we also have object pronouns, right, which we can then use after the action verbs, right? All right, we need to select the correct pronoun to complete the sentence. So blank were so surprised by the noise, sorry. So who was surprised by the loud noise, right? And remember, were also indicates that it is either singular or plural, right? All right, so if we were to identify the missing pronoun within that sentence, right, then we can say we, right? Because we can't say I were, we can say we, more than one person were, right? So we were so surprised by the loud noise, right? And we is a subject pronoun, right? And it tells us who is doing something. We were surprised. All right. We will pay who, right? So we here they're saying they, right? So we can't say that we will pay they. We will then say we will pay them. So not they, we will pay them. So we are now selecting the correct pronoun to complete the sentence. And them is an object pronoun that comes after the action verb, right? Pay. So the action verb is pay, and the pronoun we selected was an object pronoun, which is them, that comes after the action verb pay. Will dad carry? We need to either choose I, but we can't say will dad carry I. Then we will say will dad carry me. So we'd rather say, oh, the proper word or the proper pronoun or the correct pronoun that we need to use is me instead of I. So we can't say, will dad carry I? Nope, that is incorrect. We will say, will dad carry me? So me is the correct pronoun to complete the sentence, right? And me is an object pronoun. It's an object pronoun that comes after the action verb, which is carry, right? So me is the object pronoun that comes after the action verb, which is carry. All right. So once again, we said we get subject pronouns and we get object pronouns, right? And a subject pronoun we use as a subject of a sentence that tells us who is doing something, right? And a subject pronoun we will usually find at the beginning of a sentence, such as I, you, he, she, it, we, and they. And then we also have object pronouns, right, which comes after an action verb. And the object pronouns are me, you, him, her, it, us, and them, right? So we went over a few examples where we had to select the correct pronoun to complete the sentences. All right, so if we do a test on choosing between subject and object pronoun, right? We need to select the correct pronoun to complete the sentence. So we need to select the correct pronoun to complete the sentence. So is it I caught a fish or me caught a fish? We need to select the correct pronoun. Either I caught a fish or me caught a fish. All right, so we're going to choose I, and I is a subject pronoun, right? All right. Is it we grow sunflowers in our yard or us grow sunflowers in our yard? So it's either we grow sunflowers in our yard or us grow sunflowers in our yard. We need to choose the correct pronoun. All right, so we will then say we grow sunflowers in our yard, and that is a subject pronoun. It tells us who is doing something, and it's also at the beginning of the sentence. All right, so him has a rabbit for a pet, or he has a rabbit for a pet. We need to select the correct pronoun to complete the sentence. We need to choose between him or he. So, do we say him has a rabbit for a pet, or do we say he has a rabbit for a pet? All right, so if you said he has a rabbit for a pet, then that is correct, and that is a subject pronoun. Did you thank them or did you thank they? We need to choose between them or they. Did you thank them or did you thank they? We need to select the correct pronoun within that sentence. All right, so we're going to say them, and them is an object pronoun, right, which came after or it comes after the action verb thank, right? So that is choosing between subject and object pronouns, right? So now we're going on to replacing the singular noun with a pronoun, right? And remember, we said singular, it refers to one person, place, or thing, right? So singular noun refers to one person, one place, or thing. So in this lesson, we are going to replace the singular noun with a pronoun, pardon. And once again, we see that a pronoun is a word that takes the place of a noun or nouns, right? And we have singular pronouns, right, which take the place of a singular noun. For example, one person, one place, or one thing, right? And the singular pronouns are I, you, he, she, it, me, him, or her, right? So those are singular pronoun. And we need to select, or we need to replace the singular nouns with a pronoun. All right, so if we now look at the first sentence, right? It says we need to complete the sentence, this one over here. We need to complete the sentence with the best pronoun. Remember, the pronouns are I, you, he, she, it, me, him, or her. The baby uses a toy shovel. So we need to replace this word to dig in the garden. So the baby uses a toy shovel to dig in the garden. So, are we going to replace the words a toy shovel with I, you, he, she, it, me, him, or her? So the baby uses, so we can say the baby uses it to dig in the garden. So it, we are replacing a toy shovel with the word it, with the pronoun it, right? So the baby uses it to dig in the garden. So if you also had that, then well done. All right, we're going to the next one. Alice dropped the ice cream on her new dress. So we need to replace the ice cream with the correct singular pronouns. So it's either I, you, he, she, it, me, him, or her. So Alice dropped the ice cream on her new dress. We need to choose the correct pronoun. All right, so we are going to say Alice dropped it, right? And it is the singular pronoun, right? Which replaces the ice cream, right? So it is the personal pronoun which replaces the ice cream. So we will say Alice dropped it on her new dress. All right. Does Mr. Boyer really have 12 goats and 3 horses? Does Mr. Boyer really have 12 goats and 3 horses? We need to choose the correct pronoun to replace Mr. Boyer. So does Mr. Boyer really have 12 goats and 3 horses? We need to choose between the singular pronouns of I, you, he, she, it, me, him, or her. So does Mr. Boyer really have 12 goats and 3 horses? All right, so if we select the correct pronoun to replace Mr. Boyer, we can say he, right? So we will ask the question, does he really have 12 goats and 3 horses? So instead of saying Mr. Boyer, we can then replace Mr. Boyer with he. So does he really have 12 goats and 3 horses? Right? And he replaces the word Mr. Boyer. All right. So we said that a pronoun, it takes the place of a noun or nouns. And then we have singular pronouns, right? Which takes the place of a singular noun. And singular nouns refers to one person, one place, or one thing, right? And then we also have singular pronouns, which are I, you, he, she, it, me, him, and her, or her, right? So those are the singular pronouns, right? And in this lesson, we had to replace the noun, right, with the best pronoun. All right, let's go to our test. We need to complete the sentence with the best pronoun. Miss Hodge goes running every morning before school. So we need to choose between she or her. So she goes running every morning before school, or her goes running every morning before school. So we either need to choose the base pronoun, which is she, goes running every morning before school, or her goes running every morning before school. So we are replacing the word Miss Hodge. All right, so we're going to choose she. So she goes running every morning before school, right? So we're going to choose she goes running before school every morning. Right, so if you have she, then well done, right? So she replaces Miss Hodge. Just for fun, I made my brother a fuzzy hat. So just for fun, I made my brother a fuzzy hat. We need to replace the words my brother with the base pronoun. So it's either him or his. Him or his. Alright, so just for fun, I made him a fuzzy hat, or just for fun, I made his a fuzzy hat. If we were to choose the best pronoun, let us choose I made him a fuzzy hat. So if you have him, then well done. Even Mr. McCoy, so even Mr. McCoy doesn't know how the computer really works. So does it so we need to choose or we need to replace the word Mr. McCoy with the correct pronoun. So is it even he doesn't know how the computer works or even him doesn't know how the computer works? All right, so he, right? So he doesn't know how the computer works. So that is the correct pronoun that we chose to replace the noun. All right, so that is on replacing the singular nouns with a pronoun, right? I remember singular nouns refers to one person, one place, or one thing, right? Now we're going on to the next one that says replace the plural noun with a pronoun. So earlier on we did replacing the singular noun with a pronoun. Now we are going to replace the plural noun with a pronoun. And we say that a pronoun is a word that takes the place of a noun or nouns, and plural nouns takes the place of plural nouns or pronouns, sorry. Plural pronouns, it takes the place of plural nouns. And plural nouns are more than one person, more than one place, or more than one thing, right? And the examples that we have is the kids liked the books. So the kids liked the books. So if we were to replace the word the kids, then we can say they, right? Liked them. So instead of saying kids and the books, we can say they liked them because we know that we are referring to they as the kids and them as the books, right? So they take the place of the kids and them takes the place of the books, right? So that is replacing they with the kids and them with the books, right? And then we also have a few plural nouns, and the few plural nouns are we, you, they, us, or them, right? And plural nouns, it takes the place of a, so plural pronouns takes the place of a plural noun, and it refers to more than one person, more than one place, or more than one thing, right? All right, so if we look at this first sentence that we see over here, right on top, Complete the sentence with the best pronoun. So we need to choose the best pronoun to replace the bus driver and I. So we need to choose the best pronoun to select to replace the bus driver and I. So I'm going to underline that word so long. The words. The bus driver and I helped the dog across the street. So we either need to choose between we, you, they, us, or them, right? Which refers to the bus driver and I. So we need to select the best pronoun to replace the bus driver and I, or to take the place of the bus driver and I. The bus driver and I help the dog across the street, right? So we can then say we, right? So we, it refers to the bus driver and I. So we replaced the word we with the bus driver and I, right? All right, let's go to the next one. After the storm, the bridges in the city closed down. So after the storm, the bridges in the city closed down. So we need to select the correct pronoun to replace the words the bridges in the city, or the words within the bracket, right? All right, then we need to choose between we, you, they, us, or them, right? So we can then say after the storm, instead of saying the bridges in the city, we can say they close down, and they, it takes the place of the bridges in the city. So after the storm, they closed down, right? And they is the pronoun that replaces the bridges in the city. Before that trip, Bella and I had never seen a whale. So before that trip, Bella and I had never seen a whale. We need to choose the correct plural pronoun: we, you, they, us, or them. So before that trip, we need to replace Bella and I had never seen a whale. All right, so we can say we never seen a whale. So we will replace the word Bella and I. So before that trip, we had never seen a whale, right? And remember, we said that a plural pronoun, it takes the place of a plural noun that refers to more than one person, more than one place, or more than one thing. And the plural pronouns are we, you, they, us, or them, right? So we either need to replace the word, any words that they give within a sentence with the plural pronouns, which is we, you, they, us, or them. All right, let's go to our test, right? All right, so we need to complete the sentence with the best pronoun. Sometimes Laura feeds the horses apples. So we need to replace the word the horses. So sometimes Laura feeds them apples, or sometimes Laura feeds they apples. We need to choose the correct word, the pronoun, to replace the words the horses. All right, so sometimes Laura feeds them apples, right? And them refers to the horses. Miss McDaniel tells Zach and me about some good books. Miss McDaniel tells Zach and me about some good books. So does Miss McDaniels tell us or tells we about some good books. Miss McDaniels tells us about some good books, or Miss McDaniels tells we about some good books. All right, we are going to choose she tells us, right? So us replaces the word Zach and me, right? All right, then we say, even in summer, those mountains had snow. So even in summer, those mountains had snow. We need to replace the base pronoun. It's either they or them with those mountains. So even in summer, they had snow, or even in summer, them had snow. We need to choose the best pronoun to replace those mountains. All right, so we're going to say they had snow, and they replaces the words those mountains, right? All right, so now we're quickly going back to the to our whiteboard, right? All right, so if you look at personal pronouns, you look at the page that you see right in front of you, personal pronouns. It says look at each picture and choose the pronoun being colored in the correct circle. So we are going to just make a little X or tick over the correct word, right? The correct pronoun. So you need to also look at who they are pointing to, right? In order to say what the personal pronoun is. All right. So who is he showing to? Is it she or they, right? She or they. If you look at he standing on the one side and he is showing to the two girls. All right, so if he's showing to the two girls, then we can say he's referring to they, right? They are. The next one, the girl is pointing to someone else, right? Which means that she's referring to you because she's pointing towards you. The girl in green is pointing to the boy, right? Is it he or it, right? So, boy, we refer to him as he, right? And then the two girls is referring to themselves. So, we can then say we, right? And then the little boy over here is only referring to himself. Is it I or they? So, if it's singular, we can then just say I, right? All right, the boy on the left is pointing to the two of them, that is pointing to themselves. Is it you or she? He is saying you, right? Which is you. And then we have she, and then we can have it as the dog, right? So that is personal pronouns, right? Personal pronouns, right? All right, so if we go back to our tutorial lesson, right? All right, so we did the lesson on personal pronouns today, and we were able to identify pronouns, choose between subject and object pronouns. We also replace the singular as well as plural pronouns with the correct pronouns, right? So, grade two, that is the end of our lesson today on personal pronouns. Thank you very much for joining the class, and thank you very much for interacting today, right? So you should have an amazing evening further. Until next time, goodbye.